Thank you. So, as we said, this is about no poverty, and it is a follow-up of the Millennium Development Goals, where progress has been done, but it has been done in a very uneven way. For example, women have suffered disproportionately, and the progress has been disproportionate. Of course, with new challenges, climate, vulnerability, conflict, food insecurity, we need to be very, very bold. And it is, I think, a disfavor to the poor if we decide to measure according to quantitative measurements like under $1.5, $1.25 a day. The idea is that every individual achieves the full package of rights. So it's beyond economic poverty. Actually, what is behind the goals is leaving no one behind. And for this, we need vision, compassion, and political will. I love this because this reminds us that it is some, at least, of the people who are rich that are preventing the creation of a fair global society. I think we need to reintroduce words such as community, equity, justice, sustainability, and sharing. Of course, we know from experience that beyond a certain threshold, possessions become the thieves of time, and the thieves of energy, the thieves of freedom, and above all, the quality of human relationships. And human relationships require time, freedom, and energy. So, ending poverty in all its forms, even if we just look at it economically, we know that during the MDGs, the uneven distribution has created a situation where we could have used the same economic growth generated to eliminate poverty. But actually, we need to talk about limits to growth, because we cannot keep on talking about economic growth on its own. In fact, disadvantage adds up to create groups that are doubly discriminated against, and this is where we need to focus. So it's not enough to talk about women or to talk about ethnic minorities, but to look at their intersectionality. And it's also good to remember that poverty often takes place behind closed doors. So sometimes, for example, children in the same household can have different outcomes depending on gender. Or else, we all know about old people who die and they get to know about them in the street days after. This is my first challenge. I would like, the tree is representing 3 years. Let us give ourselves a good shot over the coming 3 years, and let us call for a national conference to see who is being left behind over these 3 years, so that we are in time to address this. And to do this, we need research, we need statistics. And we need disaggregated statistics. It's not enough to talk about education for boys, education for girls, but we need to look at education for girls with ethnic minorities in particular regions. It is only through disaggregated data that we can do it. Of course, I think we also need some humility. I am always quoting when the International Monetary Fund asked Julius Nyerere how he managed to do health for all and education for all. And he said, have some humility. So I think that when we talk about the first goal, we need to deconstruct the assumption of economic growth as desirable for all and look into issues of participation so that we know exactly what people need. And we need to understand the perceived disconnect between the wise words of the SDGs and the reality on the ground. In other words, if I had to make a political manifesto myself, I would go for stopping all new policies and start implementing the policies that we wrote about over the past 10, 15 years. Because we need to do that, we need to implement. And this requires mobilization. It can only be done through mobilizing politically, socially against systemic causes of underdevelopment. And this means being bold. It means talking about export subsidies. It means talking about tax bodies that prevent the rich from hiding billions of dollars. it means talking about a new narrative where we need to think about what Einstein said, that we cannot solve problems with the same mindset that created them. And one of the crucial issues is for civil society to reclaim its space. And I think I will be happy if we finish this week with an energized and new energy to advocate, because I think advocacy is at the core of whether the SDGs would be successful or not. And this, I think, we need to do with peace with ourselves. Vandana Shiva is in a way my guru, because she talks about staying cheerful and having joy in the struggle. This is an interesting slide, because one fish can do nothing, but the fishes uniting together are doing much. And I think we need to reintroduce keywords such as bottom-up approach, increased focus on advocacy, alliance building, governance. These are skills I learned when I was doing my master's. Put in some keywords, analyze the article, and from those keywords you will understand the political slant of the article. So at the end of this 2030, it will be great if marginalized people are aware of their rights, and similarly, if we understand that it is also about us, about our role in creating the current world. And I think it is also, especially because most of us are academics that are presenting, realizing the false dichotomy between personal development and professional development. We need both. And this is the last slide. So, of course, I support goal 1. And I would like to end with what Nelson Mandela said when he said that like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural, and he asked us that our greatness blossoms. Thank you.